Good like that.
Okay. Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew, and today I'm joined by my very good friend and workmate, Frazio Mampwe, who is from our HR department. And today we'll be talking about the recruitment process here at the U.S. Embassy.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome, Frazio.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you for having me. It's about time, I think, that we engaged a little more with the public, and I'm happy that you've given us this opportunity as HR to come and talk a little bit about our processes in the Human Resources Office, and very specifically as they relate to recruitment.
Okay. As we start, tell us a little bit about your job, what you do in the HR.
My name is Frazio Mampwe. I work in the Human Resources Office. I am the Human Resources Specialist at the U.S. Embassy, and I have been at the embassy for just over 14 years now. I wouldn't believe that it's been that long, but it has been. It's been, I would say, a very rewarding opportunity to work for the U.S. Embassy, rewarding in terms of the friendships I've met, rewarding in terms of just the overall participation that I've been able to have in some of the programs for the U.S. Embassy here. I'm not just in HR and sitting in HR, but I've participated in several things even outside of human resource. But coming back to my work in human resources, I am responsible for leading a team of 5 that helps to implement the policies and regulations of the U.S. Department of State as they relate to human resource. So it's from beginning in terms of recruitment, we go through retention, we go through separation, we do the entire program, performance management, recruitment, selection, and all of that. That's in the nutshell, I would say that's what my job entails.
Okay,
Yeah.
so can we touch on the recruitment process for today?
Sure, we can zero in on recruitment, considering it's like right at the beginning of someone's life cycle as they are coming into the embassy. We can touch on that.
Okay,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll be able to touch other areas of the HR as in regards to employees in later episodes.
Sure.
Yeah?
Certainly.
Sure.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the electronic recruitment application.
All right. Okay, so we have a platform that's in place for recruitment, and it's called the electronic recruitment application. It is a platform that is powered by monster.com, not Monster, the other
drink.
one, the drink, no. It's powered by monster.com, and it's a platform that is in use in the United States.
Okay.
And so we didn't have an electronic system of recruitment that would be in use for U.S. embassies worldwide. Before we had the electronic recruitment application, we used to receive applications either as hand-delivered applications where people would type and print, or literally handwrite their letters, attach a resume, and also attach their certificates and bring to the embassy for consideration when we had an opportunity. We also would receive applications through email, by email to a group email address, and we would sift through those emails, and that's how we would consider people that were applying for jobs. So for me, when I think about the transition that has been there and coming to the electronic recruitment application, for example, standardizes the application process, right? It helps to manage the applications on behalf of the applicants as well as on behalf of the recruiting office, which is the Human Resources Office. And so frequently you'll hear, first of all, we'll refer to this as ERA, E-R-A, electronic recruitment application. And it's one platform really that has brought our recruitment efforts into the 21st century, so to speak. We are at a time where electronic platforms are heavily used, and it was about time that we had a platform that would help us collect applications from applicants and help us to review those applications electronically without the need to print and kill more trees and be unfriendly to the environment. So ERA really has helped us to avoid killing so many trees as one benefit, but also it has helped us to standardize processes for recruitment. Standardization in the sense of the way that we are using ERA in Lusaka is the same way that ERA is going to be used in Harare, which is our neighbor, Lilongwe, our neighbor, world over, wherever there's a US embassy and they are recruiting, we are standard in the way that we're going to recruit. And so you would expect that it's the same interface, whether you are targeting a job application or a job opportunity at the US embassy in Lusaka, or if you find yourself as someone that lives in the diaspora and have to apply for jobs at the US embassy where you are, it's the same process that you're going to go through. And so it has standardized our application process and how we collect information. It has also meant that we are compliant in terms of how we manage information. Applications carry a lot of personally identifiable information. And if you were to pick up an application that is hand delivered, I'll tell you some of the information that is there. You'll find someone has put in their name, their date of birth, NRC number, phone numbers, things that if someone was acting maliciously would be used for bad, and which if put together could help to sort of form a profile on a person. And so we are compliant in terms of how we collect this data, because we are not even going to ask for things like your date of birth. If we do, it doesn't appear on the application, and we don't ask for very specific things like that are not required as part of the application process. Yeah.
Okay. So I've had a chance to look at the ERA.
Yeah.
The ERA.
The ERA.
Yeah. It's a very lengthy process.
Yeah.
I'm sure people that are watching might agree.
Yeah.
Why, Ferzio, is the ERA so lengthy?
So, apologies that it's long, but it's only for the first time.
Okay.
It's only for the first time that you are building a profile or ever using the electronic recruitment application ERA, that it's going to be a lengthy process. It is lengthy for the first time because it's building a profile. So it will ask about your education, we will ask about your experience, we'll ask about any other certifications that you have, and once you have built that profile, then you can apply for jobs. Okay? And once you have built that profile the first time, if an opportunity comes up that you qualify for and you would like to apply, you will not go through the entire process of having to recreate your profile unless you've forgotten your credentials. Then you will have to create. Otherwise, you will just go in and sign in with your credentials that you create, like your email address, your password, and if you forget your password, you can actually self-reset the password and you'll still be able to access the platform. So if you've already had a profile in electronic recruitment application ERA, you don't have to go through the lengthy process again. It's a single time, and once your profile is built, it's kept. Like, it's kept in the database, and each time you sign in, you find and are applying for a job, there are certain things that are already taken care of, and you only have to answer questions that relate very specifically to the job that you're applying for, because each job comes with its own specific questions. They are not the same like throughout all the jobs.
I imagine a situation where someone applies for a job that's not available. Does the ERA try to get rid of such scenarios? And if it does, then why, as an HR personnel, do you think it's an advantage for the applicant?
Okay. So, one of two things. We often say, we don't accept unsolicited applications, okay? Unsolicited, I mean the embassy should have me in the database so that when they're looking for someone, I'll be in their database. ERA will only collect applications very specific to a job. I'll give an example. We recently had a visa assistant job, and that particular job only has applications that were meant for that particular one. We have the capability to mine data across applications, but our policy is that we only will focus on applications that have come in for a specific opening. And so that's why even before the era of error, we would tell people to respond to an actual opening that is at the embassy. It has the benefit, one, of your application being considered, because when we have an opening out there, it means we are actively recruiting and we are reviewing every application that comes in for that particular job. Okay? So if you sent one application that didn't respond to a job, for example, the chances are that it may not receive the same consideration as one that is being actively recruited for. And in any case, error, like your application will only be submitted if you are responding to a job. Your profile will be in the system, but your application will only go to a particular job if you apply to it. So that's the benefit that you get. Your application gets considered, and you are responding very specifically to a very specific announcement, a job announcement that we are actively recruiting for. And every recruiter that we have on the team who's working on a particular announcement will make sure that they look at all the applications that are considered eligible for that particular job.
So I imagine you don't accept unsolicited applications. However, can I, if I have plans of, hopes of working for the US government at some point, can I just go up to the area now and set up a profile?
Yes, you can. It helps you because then you avoid the stress. The stress that you'll be going through knowing that, the deadline for this job is coming up and I have to finish my application. You will save yourself well, and you'll be proactive if you can create an account even before you have need to apply for a job. It's free. I mean, you don't get charged for applying for a job at the US Embassy, and nobody gets charged for an account being created in the electronic recruitment application. So you might as well create one, so that when the need comes up that now you want to apply for a job, then you can just easily go in, click apply, log in, and then you submit your application very specific to an opportunity that you have observed.
Well, I imagine at some point, maybe the time I was setting up my ERA profile, I didn't have certain qualifications, and then a certain time comes up after I've acquired a diploma, a certificate in something. Can I then go back into the ERA and update?
Yes. So the profile that you create in ERA can be edited. So it's not cast in stone. Once you put in your education profile and put in your experience profile, it doesn't mean that's the end. Like you can always update it. If I'm not mistaken, we look at it can take experience and education going back as far as the time that you were in primary school. Yeah. So you can build your profile if you want from the time that you got your grade 7, got your grade 9, your grade 12, your first tertiary education qualification, and subsequent qualifications that you have after that. You can add all of them in, and that way, if I know people are education savvy in the country, and people want to acquire additional qualifications. When your next paper becomes available and you still have your profile in ERA, you can easily update it, and you can indicate that you've graduated and do have that particular qualification.
Away from the ERA, just a little bit. I heard you saying it's free, right?
It's free.
Setting up an ERA profile is free.
Yeah.
If I knew someone working for the US Embassy, can they help me find a job?
Well, no. We don't do referrals.
Okay.
We don't do referrals. I know it's common practice, and let me not say practice, but it happens that someone could actually speak on behalf of someone on our local job market and say, "Oh, my nephew is looking for a job. My niece needs a job. My daughter needs a job. Would you please consider them?" And people do get jobs that way. We, however, recruit on merit. Okay, we recruit on merit, and people stand on their own merits, and not on the merits of somebody else. If you were to take a poll of everyone, I believe, that works in the U.S. Embassy, they will attest that at the time that they applied, they didn't know anyone here. Like, they had no clue who worked here. They may have known, but nobody really pushed for them to get the job that they have at the U.S. Embassy. They got in by merit, had to compete, and usually competing very, very fiercely, I should say, when it comes to job openings at the embassy. They are quite tightly contested, and so everyone that gets the conditional offer at the end of the day has had to stand on their own merits, and not because someone vouched for them or spoke for them.
So what do you think is the advantage of an institution that employs on merit?
Well, I mean, you have credibility for a start. As an organization, you become credible for those that would like to come and join you, for example. And not just credible, but also you model integrity. You know, a lot of the suspicions that come up, about organizations not following their own practices, and bringing in people without proper qualifications, and bringing in people without the proper experience and things like that, all start because someone flaunted the way to get into the organization, or cut the corners in order to get into the organization. So you become an organization that's got integrity. And I would like to think that our recruitment process and also our organization that we work for is one that models integrity in many things, not just recruitment. So that's the advantage, I believe, that comes with recruiting on merit, and not just cutting corners here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leading you on a little bit away from the area again.
Yeah.
When I'll say we, because I'm speaking on behalf of the people that are watching.
Yeah.
When we're applying for a job, there's always a classification that says LES and EFM.
EFMs. Okay.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about those areas?
Okay. All right. So there are, when we advertise for jobs, they sometimes target different audiences. They will target, when we say LES, it's locally employed staff, and usually you will see openings that are recruiting locally employed staff being open to all interested candidates. Okay? And so all interested candidates means just that. It's everyone. If you have the qualification, you have the eligibility to work in the country. Very important. Like, you have the eligibility to work in the country, and you have the qualifications. Then you can apply if you are resident in Zambia. And so it could be someone from the DRC who's a doctor. They have the qualification, the medical degree, and they have a work permit. They can apply for a job. It could be a Zambian plumber, someone who's born and raised in Zambia. They're eligible as a citizen to apply for a job. And so that's who we target when we are looking for all interested candidates. And the hiring mechanism, or the term that is used, is locally employed staff, people who are recruited here. EFM signifies eligible family members. Okay, and I should qualify that. It's not it's not my family member who becomes an eligible family member as someone who's hired locally. An eligible family member is someone that has come here and is resident in Zambia because their spouse or their parent is a diplomat at the U.S. Embassy, living and working here. So it's like they have left whatever they were doing. If they were in the United States, they would have left everything that they were doing in the United States to come and join their spouse or significant other who's working in Zambia as a diplomat assigned to the U.S. Embassy. And so some jobs that we have and that will appear on ERA are targeted towards eligible family member. And they are not just any other. So it will start from like U.S. citizen eligible family member. That's who is eligible for that particular job. And there are reasons for that. One, and very important, the very important one is that some jobs that are done at the embassy require a certain level of a security clearance. Okay? Like everybody that works at the US Embassy at the very least should have a background check done on them, and they're able to get a clearance that makes them eligible to work here. Now, there are certain jobs that process information that is not ordinarily available to anyone. And so that's why they need citizenship, US citizenship, because only someone that's a US citizen will be vetted to the level that they go to for those positions, and in order for them to be able to process information that accrues, or information that they will come across as a result of being in those jobs. And so that's why there's usually that difference in classification sometimes. So you'll see a job that's open to US citizen EFMs, know that it either requires a secret, top secret, or what's the other word? It's
sensitive information.
Sensitive, yeah, like processing sensitive information. I forget the word. Like there's one that's right at the beginning. If I recall it, I'll tell you. But there are three classifications where it's like a background investigation or background check. Public trust, that's the one. So it starts from public trust, secret to top secret. And that's why there are those classifications. Some of the clearances can only be given to US citizens. And it's the nature of our business. And that's why sometimes you see those markings and differences in who the job is open to.
We get questions on Facebook about people looking for a job in maybe for the U.S. Army or any other organization that's away from here.
From here, yeah.
Does the HR department here help people with jobs outside Zambia?
No. Our mandate is to work for the U.S. Embassy in Zambia, and it ends there. So that's as far as we can go. For those opportunities that people hear about that are in the US and people need to get more information about, I would advise for them to contact, I'm sure there must be contact details of people that have advertised those jobs. Oftentimes, like for jobs in the US, it's not the US Embassy taking the lead, unless it's an exchange program that is led by the Public Affairs section. And if I'm not mistaken, those are not like permanent exchange opportunities to go to the US. They're temporary, like for a few months and then you come back. But in terms of jobs advertised by US Army or joining the US Army and other organizations out there, the idea or the advice I would give is please contact the people that have advertised. But just be careful. So just to make sure that you are not being made to pay for anything. I would like to think that the U.S. government does not charge a premium for you to get a benefit, unless it's a visa.
So people should do their research.
Their research, and just be savvy enough not to be scammed and lose money to people who want to get advantage from people without having done so much work.
So, as we come to a close,
I
know we have a lot of questions, and please, if you have questions, type them in the chat, and we'll be answering them. We have a team of people that will be answering those questions. So, Frazio, qualifications versus years of experience in general. What do you have to say as an HR recruiting officer?
As an HR practitioner, okay. So, qualifications versus years of experience. I'll say this, and I realize that really my career has been influenced a lot by what I've been exposed to here. Number one, both are equally important. You need experience and you need qualifications. We sometimes will have jobs that require a specific degree. For example, a specific degree as well as coupled with specific experience. Okay, if for example we are looking for a public health specialist that's got a bachelor's degree in social work as well as a master of public health, we will state it in the knowledge, skills and abilities section of our advert. And we'll also ask for very specific experience. However, there are times that we'll say, look, it may be a degree that is not very common in the country, and so maybe we should change the educational requirement a little bit. We have that flexibility when we're recruiting to sort of change the education requirement but increase the experience. And I can give an example of if we are recruiting for trying to get a job that doesn't require specialization. If we are recruiting for an HR assistant, for example, and you know that a bachelor's degree may not be, and this is really an example because people have bachelor's degrees in HR, and you know that a bachelor's degree is not very common in the country, we can recruit at the diploma level but increase the years of experience. Okay? Usually it's a balance. When we ask for a bachelor's degree, we won't be asking for 20 or 30 years of experience. If you look at most of our jobs, whatever the requirement, a bachelor's degree, diploma, certificate, the years of experience range from a year to maybe 5. So very rare will you find that we are asking for 7 or 10 years of experience. And when we do, those are very high-level positions that we're recruiting for that require that much experience. But for the most part, 1 to 5 years of experience is what you would expect to find for a job advertisement that is looking for people to join the U.S. Embassy. Yeah.
Okay, so I've done my electronic recruitment application.
Yeah.
I'm a successful candidate.
Yeah.
You call me for an interview.
Yeah. Please
give me a tip of how I can successfully handle my interview.
How you can successfully handle your interview.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I will say this. Be yourself. Don't be nervous. Most people tend to be nervous when they come to the interview. And I get it. It's a big deal just going to an interview, especially in the recruitment market that we are in. Jobs are few and far between, and so you want to bring your best to the interview. And sometimes it shows up as nervousness during the interview. So as much as possible, try to relax.
Is it a negative if somebody looks nervous in an interview?
Not really. It's just on their own, they may fumble on their answers.
And they fail to express themselves.
They fail to express themselves completely. Like they'll fail to express themselves in a way that is clear enough to the interviewer such that they build a case for them to be hired. So rest enough, number one. Try as much as you can to control the nerves, or if you can't control the nerves, at least be courageous enough that you're going to share your thoughts without being distracted, because sometimes nervousness will distract you and you find you ramble a lot, you say a lot of things without really communicating a point, like without really getting the point across. That's the advice. I would also say, I mean, the people that are sitting on the other side of the table are human beings just like yourself. So of course they will make decisions that impact your life at the end of the day, but they're human beings, and when you get to them, you are going to have a conversation. You are having a conversation about a particular job, and most of the times we apply for jobs that we're qualified for, we're experienced for, and we know what to do in those jobs. And the questions that you will experience are not, you will not find a brain surgery question in an HR interview. They relate to your particular area of specialization. So share your experience. Like share your experience as much as you can, and share it very clearly so that those who are making a decision at the end of the day can decide to hire you.
Okay.
Yeah.
My final questions.
Yeah.
I promise this is my last question. Don't call us, we'll call you. Do you do that, or do you provide feedback to someone after they've applied?
After they have applied.
Yeah.
So, and this is why I love error. We have the ability to provide feedback to thousands of applicants with the click of a button. We have that capability. So when you apply for a job at the U.S. Embassy, we have deliberately made the effort. Like, the policies don't require us to do so for everyone, they will say we will contact the shortlisted candidates. And even in the job announcement, what you will find is that we state that we will contact those that have been shortlisted for a job. But we noticed, well, ERA has the capability, and ERA really has become the best thing since sliced bread, if I can say that.
Speaking from the HR perspective.
You know,
yeah.
like literally at the click of a button, I can select all the candidates that I need to correspond with. And with the click of a button, I can write one email and it will go out to thousands of people. So my team and I have gone to the length that we are going to provide feedback to all people that have applied, just to let them know your application was received and is being considered. And even after we've gone through that step, we will let them know your application was not successful at this time. And so that way, someone is not sitting on the other end and just waiting for feedback, but they will have heard something. So as much as it is not a physical, like someone picking up the phone to say, hey, we unfortunately can't consider your application now, there's a way that you hear back from the embassy just because you sent in an application for a particular job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I promised it was the last question, but as you were speaking, another one popped up. Yeah. I received the email and it says, sorry, you're unsuccessful and were not picked. Can I still apply for subsequent positions if they relate to what I do and I qualify?
Yes, you can. As many times as you can. We don't render someone ineligible just because they didn't qualify the first time. So as often as you see jobs that you qualify for at the embassy, apply. Some people shun jobs because they were denied the first time. I have heard of people that have succeeded at doing anything, and part of their success comes from persistence. And I know of a few people that I have met, a few colleagues that I have met within the embassy now that they have joined, who say, I tried, I applied several times, and I promised myself that this particular one was my last application, and that's the one that got them in. So please, don't shun the opportunity just because you didn't get it the last time. This could be the time that you get into the embassy. And I mean, there's so many success stories of people that did that didn't give up, and they got into the embassy because they wanted to come here and they like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Nice.
Well, thank you so much, and for everybody that's been watching. Even though we haven't touched some of the questions you might have had, please leave them in the comments, and we have a team of people, like I promised, that will be checking them. Frazio, thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew, for having me, and I look forward to being back in this space.